thanks for joining us. I'm going to go straight to questions for Coach Dykes.
Coach, how's the last couple of days of practice been for you guys?
You know what? Actually, really good. I think when you don't play well, like Saturday, and you have a bad, night all around, which you can certainly call it that. A team's either go one way or the other. And the great thing about our guys, I think, they were good in the locker room after the game. They were good Sunday. They were good Monday when they were around the office, just checking in on guys. And they were, really good today at practice. So, the good thing, and again, I've said it over and over again, I like this team. I like it because there's some maturity, and I think that they realize, hey, look, we had a really bad showing, and let's get back to work. So that's been the attitude. So I've been very pleased.
As bad as that game was, you guys still on all-in-one conference play. Was that part of the message?
Sure, it was. It was. I mean, it's always the same thing. Acknowledge what happened, use it to your advantage in terms of understanding. Look, we have to get better in these areas, and then find some kind of positive. And the positive is that wasn't a conference game. You know what I'm saying? And so there was very few positives, but that was the one thing. We were fortunate it wasn't a Big 12 game.
When you've watched those last two games on film, specifically the defense, anything you guys can change?
Well, we played as well as we could play the first half against Central Florida defensively. I mean, that was as well as we can play. And there was no scheme difference between the first half and the second half. You know what I'm saying? So it just came down to making plays and staying consistent and dealing with adversity. I think that's been the one thing that we could probably say, okay, what could we do better? Could have dealt with some adversity better in the second half in that game in terms of when we, lost the momentum of the game and just dealing the maturity you have to deal with that. And then the same thing on Saturday, where the game starts and you're down 17-0 instantly. And so I think those are things that you got to kind of experience and you got to go through and you got to get better at. The thing about us, defensively is, look, we gave up 21 points Saturday that weren't our defense. There was obviously a punt return for a touchdown and 2 defensive touchdowns. So those are things that, obviously don't go there. We've got to do a better job of stopping the run. I think it's obviously painfully clear to anybody. We're giving up too many yards, specifically on early downs. And so, we're not forcing anybody to do anything difficult offensively to move the chains. And that's always the goal of a defense, is to get the offense in a long yardage situation, create pressure. And we haven't been able to do that. And so, it's like anything else. There's things that we have to adjust scheme-wise. There's things we have to do personnel-wise. There's things we have to get better at. I wish there was an easy, we need to do this or we need to do that. I wish there was an easy fix. And it's always a combination of things. And that's what makes football interesting and difficult at the same time, is that, when things aren't going well, it's never one thing. It's one thing that leads to another thing, that leads to another thing, and leads to another thing. And you just got to, you got to fix it. You got to fix the one thing, which makes the one thing better, which makes the one thing better, and so on.
Does the same apply for running the football?
Same thing, yeah. It's just kind of been our issue this year. It's, kind of said it over and over again. It just seems like it's been one thing, and so we're working really hard to get that one thing fixed.
We're facing another mobile quarterback.
Yep.
Really better at running back this week. Do you anticipate that Kansas is going to take the same approach as UCF?
Oh, for sure. Oh, without a doubt. Kansas already runs the ball 68% of the time. My guess is it's going to be 75 to 80% run. Yeah, I would certainly assume that. And I would do the same thing. I would run the ball until we stop them. And they're very good at doing it. You look at what they do. They are. I've never seen a team run the ball more in third and medium. When they get to 6 yards on third down, they're almost all run. And it's just because they're trying to get it to a 4th and short and go for it. They go for it a high percentage of the time. And so, first down is going to be important to us. Really, really important to do a good job of, not giving up 4 or 5 yards on first down. If you get behind the chains on these guys, it's hard.
It's almost as if because numbers usually don't lie, but they run the ball well. They're pretty good defensively. They're allowing under 300 yards.
Right.
20 points, and they're 1-3.
Yeah, the issue's been turnovers. I think that's been their deal. They turn the ball over, and And obviously we see what a big deal that is. And they haven't normally done that. That's just kind of been, if you said, why have they lost 3 games, they've turned the ball over, and they typically don't do that.
Coach, when you look at the run game, is there a competition for the starting 5 offensive linemen?
Yeah, oh yeah, there always is. Yeah, there always is. I mean, there's competition every day for every position, really. And so, I mean, no one's safe at any position. We're always trying to figure out a way to upgrade what we're doing and how we're doing it. And yeah, so those guys everyone's competing for their job, and especially when the performance isn't very good, but there's always competition.
They lost their offensive coordinator at Penn State this offseason. How is their offense different this season compared to what it was?
Well, you can tell they've got a system that they run. I mean, it's very, very, very similar. The quarterback has been there for so long, and he's been doing it for so long, and these running backs have been doing it for so long. They just have a lot of experience at what they do, and they're very, very good at it. I mean, that's the thing that they run pretty much every single run scheme that I've ever seen run. I've never seen a team that has more offense from a running perspective than these guys do. They do a lot of different things. They know how to do it. They do them well. They utilize their personnel. Obviously, the quarterback can make plays in the run game, but he also makes plays in the passing game. It's difficult. I mean, they can run a million different schemes, and then all of a sudden you start putting the option stuff in, the speed, the triple, and all the stuff that they do, and that's some people's entire offense. And then they've got another entire run offense, and then really kind of another entire run offense within that. And so when you look at their scheme, as I said earlier, those guys do a tremendous job of teaching all the things that they teach. Because, I mean, it's very, very difficult to execute the number of things that they do, but to their credit, they do it. They do it at a very high level.
You've been in a position before where a team is struggling, and there's a lot of noise that comes with it.
Yeah.
Just the players hear it, kids hear it. Do you acknowledge the noise with the players and how to address that? So it doesn't distract and become a problem.
Yeah, I mean, you know how it is. I mean, we're kind of weirdly, I mean, I'm sure there's noise out there, but we're kind of weirdly, embedded here. And so we don't, what I'm saying? I mean, I drive to work and drive home. You know what I mean? I took my son to a quarterback workout a couple of weeks ago on a Thursday when we finished up early, and I got lost. And it's because I hadn't been anywhere but home or work in 6 weeks. And so, this is just kind of what you do. You come here, you work, you go home, you come when it's dark, you go home when it's dark. And so, we're, as far as coaches, we're kind of immune to that stuff to a degree. Now, our players aren't. Those guys are on social media, and those guys are on, in class, and those guys are around people, and those guys are talking to their parents and family members and all that stuff. But I think the important thing is it all comes down, I think, to culture. And do the guys believe that us as coaches and our program, do they believe that we care about them? Okay, I think they do. Do they believe that we're doing everything we can to take care of them? I think they do. Do they believe that we're doing everything that we can do to improve them individually and improve us collectively? I think they believe that. And so at the end of the day, my hope is that means a lot more than what some dude on Twitter means, what he says. You know what I'm saying? And I think the guys are smart enough to understand that. You know what I mean? And I think you look around the world and in football, I mean, who's not being criticized? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's every team, and we're playing a team that started the year in the top 25 and they're 1-3. And so they're going through the same thing, and who's not being criticized? I mean, we're in DFW. You think the Cowboys aren't being criticized? And I mean, what I'm saying? I mean, it's just these guys are used to that. I mean, it just comes with the territory. Everybody's an expert on everything, except the people that are doing it. And that's okay. And that's just the way it is. That's the way the world is. And I think our guys, again, appreciate the fact that when they come here, they know exactly what they're going to get every day. They're going to get people that care about them, people that invest in them, people that want to see them be successful on the field, but I want to see them be successful off the field, and people that they know are going to be in their lives 30 years from now. And so I think all that means, like I said, more than what somebody says on Instagram.
How have you Jeff Besh kind of help the younger players steer clear of kind of negativity? As you said, the players obviously are all on social media.
Yeah. Like I said, I think it's kind of just what we talked about. I mean, I really do. I think it's, just guys, understanding that the only way to get better is to roll your sleeves up and go to work. I mean, there's no, having an argument on Twitter doesn't make you a better football player. I mean, and so I think those guys get that.
On Saturday after the game, you talked about undisciplined play
Right.
on your team and how it starts with you. Obviously, you got ejected. Have you changed your messaging around discipline at all this week?
No, because we have 3 principles in our program, and that's one of the 3 principles. And so it's on everything that we do and everything that we preach. It begins there and ends there. And so, none of us did a good job of that. Again, I think I have addressed that for me in the way I handled it. I think our players, were a product of what happened to me and what I did. And so, we've all taken responsibility for it. And I mean, it's not like we're going to start saying we need to be disciplined today. I mean, we've been saying that for 3 years. And I think in most cases we have been. And I think we had a bad night Saturday. And, it's like anything else. You acknowledge it and you move on.
Coach
Did you get a
Jack
chance
is,
to watch Jalen Daniels much before this season?
Yes, I've seen him, quite a bit, yeah.
Does he look the same? I mean, he's had some injuries.
He has, he's had some injuries. I think that, he just hadn't been able to get through a season. I think that's been the hard thing for him. I mean, you go back and you look, he's been one of the best players in the Big 12 for a long time. And, he just has had a very difficult time staying healthy, and he's stayed healthy up to this point, and he's playing very well.
Coach Jack is leading the Big 12 in receiving yards right now. Can you kind of talk about the kind of season he's having?
Yeah. I mean, it's what he is. He's mature. He's consistent. He's competitive. He's exactly what you want. You want a team full of guys that come to work every day. Take great pride in the way he practices, the way he takes care of himself on the field, off the field. Just has a very professional approach to his training and his performance and everything. And so I think he has. I'm not surprised that he's having the kind of success he is. He made a position change and he made it quickly and he adapted very, very quickly, and he spent all the time that he needed to do to learn how to make that change and to do it quickly, and he's been incredibly productive. And you know exactly what you're going to get from him. And Josh Hoover knows exactly where he's going to be and when he's going to be there and how he's going to compete. And and so when your quarterback trusts a receiver like that, then there's something magic in that. And so those guys are playing pretty well.
We'll go 2 more questions.
Coach, you guys are heading up to Arrowhead Stadium this week.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be cool. I've never been to Arrowhead. I don't think many of our players have ever been there. I think we're excited about getting up there and playing. And, for us, it's just it's a game. We got an opportunity to go win a football game against a good team on the road. Again, a preseason top 25 team, and a team that's very talented. And, you can look at that's, again, we talked about this. I mean, you could look at us right now and you could say, okay, we could very easily be undefeated in the Big 12. Okay, with a win against Central Florida. I mean, it came down to a call at the end of the game that could have gone either way. Okay, we didn't get the call. We lost the game at the end. Could have stopped him. Okay, but that could have gone. I mean, that was a millimeter different. And these guys have played 3 games that have come down to that. One play, they had a 4th and 1 against UNLV. UNLV converted on the goal line. Okay, they get a stop there. They win the game. I mean, you can just go back over and over and over again, play after play after play. West Virginia, they could have won that game very easily. You look at Illinois, could have won that game very easily. So we're playing a team that could have been 4-0 very easily, just like we could have been 3-1 very easily. And that's college football. That's the way it is right now. And that's the way it's going to be. And that's, again, so everybody's going to get criticized. Everybody's going to get blamed. It's just the way it is. And these games are going to come down to the very, very end, week after week after week. One team's going to win, one team's going to lose. And the team that wins is going to be praised and everybody's going to be excited about it. And the team that loses, everybody's going to be criticized. And that's just the way it is.
Coach, growing up in Lubbock, were the Chiefs the AFC game on often or no?
You know what?
Or was it the Broncos?
Yeah, I think it was the Broncos.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't get. I mean, obviously, I've seen a bunch of games in Arrowhead through the years, especially recently, just with the success that they've had and all that. But I think I grew up seeing most of the Broncos stuff.
So there's not an old. If I said who was your favorite old time Chief?
No, not really.
There's not.
No,
You're not saying Bill Kenny.
no, maybe Trent Green. Well, his son Derek played for us, so that's part of the reason.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thank you guys.